What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Pass the Mic Sports Podcast. Jock on Zoom again, man.
Sorry, everybody. I had to keep my distance from Mike. He's been everywhere these days.
Whoa, Jock. So we got some beef to discuss.
As you can see, there's a party going on in his house right now. So I'm keeping my social distance 6 feet apart. Everybody, keep your masks on because obviously Mike right now doesn't have his mask on in his party.
Jock, why in every big news of the week you always say that I'm not there? It's literally your series.
All right, I got something for you next time. You'll like it.
God,
You'll like it. No, you'll like it. You'll like it.
All right, we'll see. Today we're going to be talking about the awards, the NBA awards, because as the season starts to come to an end, there's some speculations because the awards are regular season awards. So it's exciting to see who's going to win what. And me and Jack just wanted to throw out our predictions out there, and if we right, we right. If we're not, we're not. Jack is probably going to be wrong as usual, but yeah. So let's get on with it. So the first category we're going to be talking about, which Jack thinks is not exciting, but I think is really exciting, is most improved player. This is not just because I'm a Knicks fan. This is out of my I truly believe that Julius Randle is the most improved player this season. He has taken such a big step and such a big change, not just in terms of statistics, in terms of how he plays, how he incorporates his whole entire team. He rebounds, assists, scores, everything. He's such a great leader for the Knicks. I don't think any other player really compares to how well he's done this season in terms of improvements. Because last season, as I said in my video on Tuesday, everybody was bashing him, saying that he's trash, trade him away. But then he took this big step where now he's like this, like not like he has the same skill set as Nikola Jokic. I feel like obviously not as good as Nikola Jokic, but a big man. Okay, listen, a big man who could pass, rebound, assist, score, all that stuff. And he shoots the three normally. So he's a trustworthy player, nothing compared to how he was in the past couple of seasons that he was in the NBA. So I honestly think that Julius Randle, he's taking this most improved player award for sure. I don't know who else could really take it.
I don't see anybody out there giving him a shot at the award. Julius Randle is the most improved player. I think that's one of the most given awards. Julius Randle, this is literally his breakout season, literally averaging 25, 10, and 5. I think actually yesterday marked the 7th time in a calendar month that Julius Randle scored 30 points or more, which was the record of 7 in Knicks history, tied with Carmelo Anthony. Julius Randle is essentially their franchise player. Like Mike said, he does a little bit of everything for them. He shoots very well. He's averaging 25 points per game. He shoots the three very well sometimes. He's essentially their point guard sometimes. He runs their offense. Him and RJ Barrett have been a good 1-2 nice punch this season. RJ Barrett last season averaged 13 points per game, and then this season he's close to around 20, 22 points per game. He's just been dominating all season long. So that's no surprise there. I don't see anybody giving him a run for the award.
Jock, thank you so much. Every single time you say something good about the Knicks, I actually feel butterflies in my stomach.
So the next award that we're going to talk about is Sixth Man of the Year. In my opinion, Jordan Clarkson is going to win it. He's the shooting guard, point guard and shooting guard for the Utah Jazz. The Sixth Man award, the last couple of years has been has changed in a way, because usually Sixth Man awards were given to players who are actual bench players, but now the Sixth Man award is given out to players who are playing starter minutes in a way. They just start off the bench. Usually what it was is a sixth man would probably play anywhere between 18 to 20 minutes, and that would be it. But now it's usually around 30 to 35 minutes, just like a starter. So the award has changed in a little bit. Um, Jordan Clarkson also is in the in the same boat as Julius Randle. He's not talked a lot as Julius Randle because he plays for the Utah Jazz, and obviously there's Donovan Mitchell ahead of him. There's Rudy Gobert, but Jordan Clarkson has been averaging close to 20 points per game off the bench this season. Jordan Clarkson has been going off this season, um, especially with so many ball handlers and so many offensive players on that team. Mike Conley, obviously Donovan Mitchell, Bogdanovich, Joe Ingles. They have Derek Favors and Rudy Gobert. So they have a lot of players that can score. But Jordan Clarkson has been very consistent this season. He's been balling out. There's some games this season that I've seen him get like 30, 35 points off the bench.
Even 40.
Also, yeah, he's also shooting really good this season. And he was considered for the award last season too. He was balling out last season too. But obviously, ahead of him is Donovan Mitchell, so obviously he's going to get more recognition. In terms of who's out there, I don't really see anyone else, giving him like a hard time for the award because he just plays so many crucial minutes for the Utah Jazz. And now that Donovan Mitchell has been out with a sprained ankle the last couple of weeks, Jordan Clarkson has stepped up the scoring for that team, which is, been essential for them because they're winning games. They blew out the Kings last night. I think they won by like 40 last night. So, in my opinion, the sixth man goes to Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have to agree with you, Jac, because Jordan Clarkson has been really balling out. I don't think what Lou Will was before. Obviously Lou Will's a little bit older, so he's not, and he's on the Hawks, so whatever. He's not doing as well as he did before, but shout out to him because he was sixth man of the year for like three years in a row, right? Something like that. So but I guess someone who has taken that role from him now.
Him and Jamal Crawford were on and off with the six man award.
Yeah, so like they were some legendary people, and I feel like Jordan Clarkson right now is really outperforming them compared to what they did. I feel like Jordan Clarkson's scoring is really out of this world from someone who's on the bench. He's putting up like starter numbers. But honestly, like I don't want to just like waste time by talking about Jordan Clarkson 24/7. But I just want to give a quick shout out to my guy on the Toronto Raptors, Chris Boucher. I've been following him since he was in the G League, and I'm really proud of the steps that he's taken to become a successful basketball player. So I mean, he's actually in the contention for sixth man of the year. Obviously, not too close to Jordan Clarkson, but actually, interestingly enough, the top two sixth man of the year people are both from Utah. Jordan Clarkson and Joe Ingles. So, what's the next award?
We can do defensive player of the year.
Defensive player of the year. All right.
So that's like that. It's a little controversy going around that one lately.
I'll solve the defensive player of the year controversy. Here it is. Nerlens Noel. Easy selection.
Okay, so the defensive player of the year award I feel like is going to be close between Rudy Gobert and Ben Simmons. Now, Ben Simmons has come out a couple of times after games, and he hasn't thrown direct shots at Rudy Gobert, but he's kind of like worked around the situation in a way, because I know a couple of times he said that, Rudy Gobert can't guard all five positions. I can guard all five positions, so I should be considered defensive player of the year. But Rudy Gobert is nothing to play with too. I think he's leading the league in blocks. He's one of the best rebounders in the game. He already has, I think, 2 defensive player of the year awards under his belt, where he won back-to-back. And I think one year he came in second. I think last year he came in second. Giannis came in first. So Rudy Gobert, defensively, he's the best defensive center in the game. Arguably the best defensive player in the league the last couple of years. He's nothing to play with. I think he's like 7 feet or 7'1", and he has the longest, I think, if not or top two longest wingspan in the NBA right now. I think his wingspan is like 8'4", honestly, and he gives centers or power forwards a lot of issues, like people like Joel Embiid, obviously Jokic, Davis, players like that. There's a reason why a lot of players don't go inside if Rudy Gobert is on the floor, because they're at least 60% of the time they're most likely going to get blocked by him because he's so damn tall. Now with Ben Simmons, Ben Simmons, he can guard all 5 positions. He's a 6'10" guard that can guard a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and obviously whoever the center is. And Ben Simmons is big for a guard. I think he's like 6'10", like 225, 230. So he can hold it down against bigger or more like stronger opponents. And, Ben Simmons, he's not wrong in that sense. He can guard all 5 positions. I've seen him guard all 5 positions in the primetime games against the Nets, Celtics, whatever. He literally guards Kyrie Irving, KD, James Harden. He guards Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, the other team's best guards, basically. So Ben, in the latest rankings that I saw on NBA.com, Ben Simmons was number 1 in the standings for NBA Defensive Player of the Year. Also, recently, if we're talking about that can guard all 5 positions, Bam Adebayo. A couple of days ago, Eric Spoelstra, the head coach of the Miami Heat, said, "Oh, you should start recognizing Bam Adebayo as one of the best defensive players in the league because he can also guard, 5 players, and he's a big man. He's a true big man. He's not like Rudy Gobert or Ben Simmons. This guy is essentially like Julius Randle for the Miami Heat. He sometimes runs their offense. He shoots. He has a good shot. He rebounds the ball. He's a great defender. If you guys don't think that he's a great defender, just go look back in the playoffs and look what he did to Jason Tatum against that block, the game-saving game with that tenacious block that he did, that Jason Tatum tried to dunk on him, but Bam Adebayo said, no, 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 and he blocked him. So Bam Adebayo should also be considered, but he won't win it because it's between Ben Simmons and Rudy Gobert, in my opinion. It's up for grabs. Whoever wins it, I won't be surprised.
I think in the end of the day, it really matters if you can guard all 5 positions and you can guard them well. I think that's really the end of discussion right there.
It's essentially what gave Giannis the award last season because he can literally guard every position on the court.
I think Ben Simmons is maybe even better, like in a better position to guard everybody else because he's not as tall as Giannis. I think he's a little bit shorter, right, a couple inches, but he still has that same agility and that same verticality. So he could so he could guard small guards, big men, whatever. And I think that's something that really makes you a defensive player of the year because okay, sure, you could block shots, you could block everybody's shots, but that's one ability. That's one part of being a defensive player. If you could block shots, but you can't guard on the perimeter like crazy, or you can't guard like somebody who's shooting threes all day like Steph Curry, I don't know if that makes you a great defensive player. That don't get me wrong. Like Rudy Gobert is one of the best. But this season, I think Ben Simmons, as you said, he's guarding all the best players and he's doing it well. So I don't think there's much of a conversation. It's controversial, but I think it's more leaning towards Ben Simmons. But I saw recently in a report that actually, they're considering Miles Turner to be one of the top players.
Miles Turner, I think he's actually leading the league in blocks with like 3.3 or something.
He's always been a really good defensive player. I never had any doubt about that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the Defensive Player of the Year award. But we'll have to see when it comes out. But I think that probably Ben Simmons is gonna take it. Coach of the Year is Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, I agree. I agree too.
I don't know because I think that Tom Thibodeau has done such an amazing thing for the Knicks. And again, if it was any other season, I would have said somebody else for sure. I wouldn't have said anything relating to the Knicks. But the ability to take one of the worst teams in the NBA and not just one season, 7, 8 seasons, one of the worst teams in the NBA, and to take them to being one of the top teams in the NBA, competing for not just like a bottom feeder, eighth seed players, for them to have a 9-game win streak, and now they're 10-1 in the past 11 games. Just because like I want to make it sound good, and they're doing so well. I think that that's all because of the coach. Their defense is number one basically in the entire league in the Knicks, and that's all thanks to the coach. They're playing like this all because thanks to the coach. Julius Randle changed his game completely, all thanks to Tom Thibodeau. I think Tom Thibodeau is the core, and that's why everything has changed and turned around for the Knicks completely, and why we're a destination and all that stuff. I don't think there's any questions about that. I don't think I've seen another team turn around like this. Maybe the Hawks with who is it?
Nate
What's
McCullough.
I think the Hawks also had a really good turnaround season, but I don't think that the issue was in the coaching, because the issue there was fine. But the thing is, they added two free agents, Danilo Gallinari and Bogdanovich, and their team improved significantly. Plus, Trey Young had that, had a development. John Collins had development. So I mean, they became better not because of the coaching, but because of the team itself. You know what I mean? They got those free agents and they became better. But we became better. We didn't change too much. We didn't have Alec Burks, but that was our biggest signing. You know what I mean? And I mean, Emmanuel quickly. I feel like it all stems from the coach. So I think that that's why Tom Thibodeau deserves to have it. I don't know what the odds are though.
So I do think also Tom Thibodeau is going to win the head coach of the year. From where the Knicks were last season to this year has been a tremendous improvement on their part. There's obviously a lot of factors that came into that. Obviously Julius Randle's having a career year. RJ Barrett from his freshman year to his sophomore year made a big leap. And, Tom Thibodeau, the hiring of Tom Thibodeau, he literally improved that team defensively. And like last season, they were basically last in every category or almost last in every category. And this year, they're literally first in every category. And I think like second in one category, but it's not really that big of a deal. So Tom Thibodeau, he's one of the candidates. In my opinion, I wasn't looking at Nate McCullough as one of the candidates. My other head coach that I thought would give a shot to Thibs was Monty Williams from the Phoenix Suns.
Oh yeah, right.
Monty Williams from the Phoenix Suns, man, has completely turned around that franchise. He's not the only factor that completely turned around that franchise, but they showed out in the bubble last season. They won like all 8 of their games. And this season, they're basically like half a game or a game out of the best record in the NBA. So, that team is playing lights out with CP3, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges. I see DeAndre Ayton has also made a big step in his development. Who else? Jay Crowder, has balled out. I don't know the team like that too deeply like that, but those are mainly the main players that I know from that team. So any other head coach that can give a run to Thibs would be, in my opinion, would be Monty Williams. But in my opinion, Thibs is going to win the award.
My only thing with Monty Williams is, and if you're looking at, Coach Thibodeau, if you're comparing them both, my only issue is that Monty Williams came into the team and they added a free agent, like a big free agent. They added Chris Paul. And honestly,
Right.
Chris Paul makes every team. Obviously, that doesn't discredit what he did. You still got to develop the players, you still got to make plays. So I think that still makes it better. But if you're comparing the two, I think that what Thibs did was something that was way more, like amazing and
Yeah.
mind blowing than what the Phoenix Suns did. But
Yeah.
still great coach though. That doesn't mean I just don't think he's
I
better.
just feel like those are the top 2 candidates
Yeah.
for the award. Thibs might win it. I won't be surprised if Thibs win it, but I feel like people should consider Monty Williams for the NBA head coach of the year because he's literally brought the Suns to their first. Also, they clinched the playoff spot yesterday, so it's the first time them going to the
Oh,
playoffs in
the
over a
Suns clinched
decade.
the playoffs by yesterday.
Yeah, so it's
I thought
the
that
first
was
time going to the playoffs in over a decade, I think, or 10 or 11 years. I don't remember what it was, but it's been a full decade since the Phoenix Suns have been the playoffs. I think the last time they were in the playoffs, they had Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire on the team.
They deserve it.
Yeah, so Monty Williams should be considered also strongly for the head coaching award.
So the last award that we're going to talk about, it's a tight race this season. The Most Valuable Player Award, MVP award. So the top two are Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid. If I have to choose between those two, I'm gonna choose Nikola Jokic. I think that Joel Embiid's game is great, but I think what Nikola Jokic does is truly amazing. Having the skill set that he has is really, out of this world. Being someone who's basically 7 feet and dribbling like that and shooting threes and passing. The thing is that he has the brain of a point guard, and he passes like he you could see those highlight assists. That's not something that even a regular point guard does all the time. You know what I mean? So I think that really gives him the edge, and elevating the Nuggets to this level. I think they're doing pretty well. Unfortunately, Jamal Murray got injured, but Nikola Jokic is still, doing pretty good for the Nuggets. And I think that really takes some accountability. Joel Embiid did elevate the Sixers. They're doing pretty well too. But I just think if you're looking at the players individually, and because whatever, they both elevated their teams. That's the most important part. But then we look at the players' skill sets individually. I think that Joel Embiid is great, but he's a center, and this guy Nikola Jokic plays like whatever the hell you want. You know what I mean? But I did want to say something interesting because I am actually really confused why. And I know I'm a Knicks fan, and I know that this could come with some bias, but I am genuinely confused as to why Julius Randle is not in the MVP race. I think that the same thing that Jokic, he's not going to win. I'm not saying that he has to win, because Jokic is better than Julius Randle at the moment. But I'm saying that I feel like Julius Randle has done something amazing for the Knicks, and he elevated them completely. Now, if we're just basing it off this season, okay, fine. Consistent 25, 30-point games, leading the team, passing the ball. It's amazing. Like, it's out of this world. I really don't see why he's not being considered above people like, Steph Curry. I think he's actually more in the race than Steph Curry, because Steph Curry, he's been doing out of this world things as well, but he's not elevating the Golden State Warriors completely. You know what I mean? Julius Randle has elevated the Knicks from the 10th seed last season or something like that to the 4th seed.
I feel like the MVP will go to Jokic. Just like Mike said, Jokic basically does everything for that Denver Nuggets offense. He scores, he's essentially their point guard. He rebounds the ball very well too. He's very underrated in that. Joel Embiid also has been blown out this season. If somebody would make an argument for Joel Embiid to be an MVP, the Sixers are on top of the East. They're neck and neck with the Brooklyn Nets, and Jokic is number 4 in the West. But some will say that the West is harder than the East, which it is in my opinion. There's a lot more competitive teams in the West than the East. So it can go both ways. Curry, his situation is interesting, because without Curry, the Warriors will probably be dead last with the Magic and the Rockets. And with Curry, they're at least staying afloat, in the in-play tournament. And he's been blown out. The month of April has really helped his case for the MVP. One of the games, I think, was actually against the Denver Nuggets, where before the game he was at 50-1 odds, and then after the game he was 20-1 odds. So the Warriors end up winning that game. The only thing that obviously is hurting Curry is the record. The Warriors record is like 31-30 or like 32-30. So they've been around 500 basically the whole season. But Curry, he's dealt a lot this season. Obviously, before the season started, Klay Thompson again was lost for the season. Back-to-back seasons where he first tore his ACL in the NBA Finals trying to dunk the ball, and then he tore his Achilles in practice. So that sucks for Klay Thompson. And then obviously a couple of weeks ago, the injury to James Wiseman. He tore his meniscus and his knee. So really the only other player that can, ease some pressure off Curry is Andrew Wiggins.
And Jordan Poole.
And Jordan Poole, obviously Draymond Green. Chris Paul should be considered for the MVP award. He's not going to win it, but he should be considered for the MVP award only because of what he's done to the Phoenix Suns this season. He's elevated that whole team. Especially after last night's performance against the Los Angeles Clippers. It was pretty tight until the end. CP3, he had 3 points at half, and then he ended up with 28 points and 10 assists. He's essentially that leader of that team. So Chris Paul deserves to be in the conversation. He needs to be recognized more, in my opinion, but obviously he won't win it. Lately, every team that Chris Paul has been on, it's just been improvement the next season. He's a great leader. He's one of the greatest point guards of all time. He just passed Magic Johnson for the all-time assists. I think he's like in 4th place now. He's not too far off from Jason Kidd and Steve Nash. He'll most likely pass him next season. He's also one of the greatest in terms of steals. He led the league, I think, 7 times early in his career in steals during his New Orleans days and Clipper days. So CP3 is the ultimate point guard. He can shoot, pass, steal, be a leader, command the offense. He's also one of the best defensive guards ever in the NBA history. He'll be obviously a Hall of Famer. It's just the one thing that's obviously hurting his career is he needs a ring.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to another Pass the Mic sports podcast. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share if you're bored, all that stuff. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one.